So we started this series with a simple question. What kind of city is Denver actually trying to become? In video 1, we talked about the identity, the vision, the tension, the unevenness. And in video 2, we got specific. So the 175 million 16th Street renovation, 570 million downtown development authority, 1,400 new residential units from office conversions, the city buying Denver pavilions outright. And in video 3, we took that recovery thesis to the neighborhood level. Rhino, Lodi, Baker are all delivering. Uptown and Golden Triangle are heading in the right direction, and Cap Hill and Lodo are carrying real upside with a real timeline. Today we close the series, and the question I want to answer is, given everything we've covered, where is Denver actually heading? I'm Jason, team lead with the Denver Group. We're a high-performing real estate team here in the Denver metro area. Let us know if you have questions about Denver real estate. We are here to help. We want to be your resource and guide for all things Denver real estate. Okay, so what does this city look like in 10 years? Because that's ultimately what matters if you're making a real estate decision here. There are 4 forces that I think will define Denver's next decade, and let's go through all of them. All right, number 1, we've got population and growth. Denver has been one of the fastest growing metros in the country for the better part of 15 years, and that isn't really slowing down. Colorado's population is projected to grow by roughly 1.5 million people by 2050, and the Denver metro absorbs the majority of that. The question isn't whether people are coming, they are. The question is where they're going to land and what that does to the places you might want to live. The growth story has 2 chapters. Chapter 1 is the urban core, which we've spent this entire series on. The recovery bets are real, the residential pipeline is real, and the neighborhoods that are already delivering are going to continue to compound in desirability and value. Chapter 2 is the suburban corridor, particularly the I-25 South corridor through Highlands Ranch, Parker, Castle Rock, and Monument, and then conversely, northern Colorado. That corridor is going to absorb an enormous amount of the incoming population growth, and the communities that have invested in infrastructure, schools, and open space are going to benefit. What population growth means for buyer demand isn't going away. Denver housing market isn't going to quietly correct back to 2015 prices. The structural supply constraint, Colorado's terrain limits where you can build, combined with continued inbound migration, means that buying here in the right place continues to be a reasonable long-term decision. The risk isn't the demand side. The risks are the other 3 things I'm about to cover. I'm going deep on the growth story, who's moving here, which corridors are absorbing the most, and what it means for specific neighborhoods in a dedicated video coming soon, so follow if you don't want to miss it. All right, the second issue impacting Denver's growth is water. This is the one that doesn't get talked about enough in Denver real estate content, and I think that's a mistake because it's the most structurally important force on the list. Colorado is the headwater state for 7 river basins that supply water to 40 million people across the American West, and the Colorado River, which Denver depends on along with Los Angeles, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, and agricultural users across the region, has been in a long-term decline. Lake Mead and Lake Powell, the 2 largest reservoirs in the country, have spent recent years at historically low levels. The Colorado River Compact that governs water rights across the basin under renegotiation because the allocations written in 1922 assumed more water than the river actually carries most years. So what does this mean for Denver specifically? Denver Water, the city utility, is actually relatively well positioned compared to some of the downstream states. Colorado holds senior water rights. Denver has invested in storage and conservation infrastructure, and the city has been more proactive about water planning than most. But the pressure is real and it's building. Long-term drought driven by climate patterns isn't a short-term problem. And as the broader Western water crisis deepens, it creates policy and economic risks for the entire region. For real estate buyers, the practical implication today is pay attention to where the water infrastructure is strong and where it's stretched. The suburban sprawl corridors that are still being built out on the Eastern Plains carry more water risk than established urban neighborhoods with existing infrastructure. So this is a decades-long story, but it's one worth understanding now. Water will get its own full video because it deserves one. I'll go deep on Colorado's water rights, what the crisis actually means for Denver, and what buyers should be watching out for. That's gonna come. So again, follow so you're there when it drops. Okay, issue number 3 is affordability. Denver's affordability trajectory is one of the most common questions we get from people considering a move here. And the honest answer is nuanced. Denver's median home price is now well above the national average. That's not a recent development. It's the result of 10 plus years of demand outpacing supply in a geographically constrained market. The pandemic accelerated it significantly, bringing remote workers with coastal incomes into a market that wasn't priced for them. Interest rate increases in 22 and 23 cooled transaction volume, but it didn't meaningfully correct prices. Sellers pulled inventory rather than accepting lower offers, and the fundamental supply constraint remained. So where does affordability go from here? My honest read is Denver doesn't get cheaper in any meaningful structural way. The terrain constraint, the continued inbound migration, and the established desirability of the market mean the floor stays elevated. So what can shift is the relative affordability picture across different parts of the metro. So the suburban corridors, Parker, Castle Rock, Brighton, Commerce City, continue to offer meaningfully more square footage for the dollar than the urban core. And within the urban core, the neighborhoods we covered in video 3 that are still in the promising and not yet tiers represent the closest thing to relative value that's left in city proper. The buyers who fare best in Denver over the next decade are the ones who stop waiting for a correction that structural economists say isn't coming and instead get precise about where in the market their dollar goes furthest for their specific life situation. That's exactly what we help people figure out. I'm doing a dedicated affordability video. So is Denver still attainable? Which price points and corridors offer the most value? And how to think about timing in this market. And that one's coming. So please follow. All right, so the last tension point is infrastructure and getting around. The fourth force is infrastructure, and specifically whether Denver can move people around a metro that's growing as fast as it is. The honest picture, Denver has better transit infrastructure than most people give it credit for, and worse road infrastructure than the growth rate demands. The light rail and commuter rail network, the A line to DIA, the W line, the downtown light rail loop, is a real system that real people use. DRCOG, the regional planning body, is actively pivoting away from road expansion and toward transit, bike, and pedestrian infrastructure. 5 bus rapid transit corridors are targeted for completion by 2030 on the major arteries. RTD is in the middle of a multi-year reconstruction of the original downtown light rail infrastructure. At the same time, I-25 South is a problem that isn't going away. The C-470 corridor is strained. The growth corridors, Castle Rock, Monument, Brighton, are aging, are adding population faster than road capacity is expanding. DRCOG's own projections show that total vehicle miles traveled in the Denver region will increase 40% by 2050, and that simply widening roads won't prevent significant congestion without transit alternatives absorbing a meaningful share of trips. What this means for buyers: your commute calculus matters more than ever in Denver. If you're buying in the urban core with light rail access, your transportation picture improves as the network expands. If you're buying in the suburban growth corridors, the road congestion story is real, and you should factor it into your lifestyle math. path. The neighborhoods and corridors that are investing in walkability and transit connectivity today are going to look smarter in 10 years. Infrastructure and getting around in Denver, I'm going deep on this. The transit pivot, which corridors are going to get better, which ones are going to get worse, and how to think about this when choosing where to buy. So follow along for that one. Okay, that was 4 videos, 4 questions, and let me bring it all together. In video 1, Denver knows what it wants to be. The vision is real. Cosmopolitan, outdoorsy, accessible, a city that can hold its own against any major metro while keeping the mountains in your backyard. In video 2, Denver is putting serious money behind that vision, $750 million plus in committed downtown recovery investment, a residential pipeline that's actively converting the urban core from a daytime only place into somewhere people actually live. In video 3, the recovery is landing but not evenly. Rhino, Lohi, and Baker are already delivering. Uptown and Golden Triangle are heading in the right direction. Cap Hill and Lodo have real upside on a real timeline, and where you land in this market matters enormously. And today, the 4 forces that will shape the next decade: population growth that isn't slowing, a water situation that's worth paying attention to, an affordability floor that structural economics say stays elevated, and an infrastructure picture that rewards buyers who think about transit and walkability now rather than later. Here's my honest bottom line on Denver. This is a city in motion. It's fluid. It has real challenges. I've been straight with you all about them across this series, but the trajectory is forward. The investment is real. The growth is real, and the buyers who understand which part of this market they're actually buying into, city versus suburbs, recovering neighborhoods versus arrived one, transit connected versus car dependent, are the ones who are going to look back at this decade and feel good about the decision they made. If you're trying to figure out which version of Denver makes sense for your situation, please reach out. That is what we at the Denver Group do. We have a link in the description to book a call and follow the channel, because the 4 deep dives I planned in this video are all coming: water, affordability, infrastructure, and the growth corridors. This series was the overview. Those videos are where we go deep. Again, I'm Jason, team lead with the Denver Group here in Denver, Colorado. Let us know if we can help with any of your real estate needs. We want to be your resource and guide. Make sure to follow for more Denver. Thanks.